You either need to be a little bit better or priced a little bit better. So you're either adjusting your price or you're putting in more stuff to sell your properties. Hey everyone, Kevin A. Malsh, Pine Financial Group, where we work together so you succeed. I would love it if you hit subscribe on this channel. You know, we're producing good content every single week, one video every Friday. And we'd love you to be part of the community. So hit subscribe, hit the bell, notifications, and leave some comments below. Today I have a very, very special guest, Travis, the one, the only, Spear. Hey, Travis, we're talking today about how to sell a house in a slowing market. You and I just met with a pretty prolific investor in Denver. I would put him as one of the top, like maybe in the top 10% of anyone doing deals, buying houses in Denver. And he sat us down and he said, look, here's some numbers. Things are getting a little bit worse. We both have some developments going on. We're going to be approaching the for-sale market here soon. We think it might be slowing down just a tad in Denver. I think that might be more national. So now we got to do something a little bit different to get these sold. So how do we sell these units?
Sure. I think it's important to note in our local market and probably most markets in the United States that the growth has been nuts, right? I mean, and what's funny is in our own market, we're talking about how things are slowing because we're only going to have 6% appreciation this year after following 4 or 5 years of 10, 11, 12% year over year appreciation. So people are starting to put their guard up a little bit, and we're seeing a little bit more inventory than we had previously. Now, I wouldn't say the sky is falling, but when we were kind of in that time where the prices were coming up so fast, you could get away with a little more, right? Which meant when we were doing a development project or somebody was looking at a fix and flip, they were maybe in some cases ratcheting down the finishes so that they could get it done for less money, sometimes faster, and still hit that value on the back end. What we're seeing now is the inventory starting to increase just a little bit. As we sit here today, it's still a seller's market, but there's a little bit more inventory. So how are you going to be better than the next property? And this is going to be true across all price points. In the lower stuff, it's going to sell regardless, but in the higher end stuff that we're doing for new construction, we have to keep in mind the things that people touch because that's kind of how we look at it. When you get near the end of the project, if you're already over budget and you want to start saving money, you're saving money on all the things that are important to the buyer, right?
Well, that's what they see when they walk into the house.
Right. Cabinets, floors, hollow core doors versus solid, the hardware, all the things that people see, touch, and feel. And if you're not putting in high quality finishes, then the buyer might think, this is kind of cheap. And if you're not better than your competition in putting out a good product, then now you have to compete on price.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing this in fairness to our viewers in Minnesota. We're seeing this out there too. This is not just Denver. We just happen to be doing a lot of deals in Denver, and we have personal developments going on, but we do a lot of deals in Minnesota too, and we're seeing the exact same thing. So we need to separate ourselves just a little bit, I think.
And it's not even necessarily new construction. It's not limited to new construction. It could also be on fix and flips. We have clients that have grown. They were maybe traditionally doing the $250,000 to $300,000 fix and flips, and their business has grown as the market has to say $400,000, $500,000, and $600,000. The expectation is different in those price points. And one example is we had a client who was doing a handful of fix and flips at the higher price point in older neighborhoods in Denver, and he was doing a lot of great work. But an example was he wasn't putting egress windows in. And if you're selling a $600,000 house, and they're relatively small houses because they're older, the buyer's looking at the usable square footage. And in most people's mind, in 2019, if there's not an egress window, it's not a usable space for their family.
And all the comps on that specific one were with egress. So
right.
We talked on this channel recently about conforming and non-conforming. That would be non-conforming if you're not doing what everybody else is doing, right?
Right. And if you look at the cost of an egress window, which the price has gone up significantly since we got into the business, but let's say it costs you $5,000 to put that egress window in, or you spent $10,000 on putting in 2 of them. Would that save you a $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000 price reduction if you're only competing on price against superior products? Or would it have saved you 1, 2, or 3 months in holding time? Or maybe both, right? And so sometimes we have to look at maybe a little bit more sizzle than steak and look at what makes a property more marketable than more valuable right now as inventory and competition increases.
All right, so let's give the viewers some specifics on how that conversation with Nathan went. What specifically are we going to do to make sure our project sells?
So we're going to focus on the things I've talked about, the kind of the touch and feel things, some upgrades that we can make further on in the process. So it might be waterfall countertops, which means when the countertop stops, the hard surface goes all the way down to the ground. We're looking at some different technology type stuff like ovens and things like that have Wi-Fi connected to them. The dishwashers have Wi-Fi, and it blows my mind. But
we're not doing that one.
The cameras, the Ring doorbells or Nest thermostats, things that when somebody walks in, they say, "Oh wow, that's pretty cool." Now, what's funny to me is a lot of the stuff is kind of a bolt-on accessory. You could buy it at Home Depot and install it, but the typical type of buyer that we're working with, and as less people are comfortable with tools, they might not actually want to do that. They want a turnkey product. They want to walk in and they want that to be what they're going to be able to use. So we're doing some things to offer a little bit more sizzle, things that will make the product stand out from others.
Yeah, more light, so bigger light fixtures, brighter light bulbs, that kind of thing can go a long way. Is there anything else you want to share before we close this out?
You know, when I started in this business 10 years ago, we had to look at our comps to see what our comparables were doing, and we wanted to be just a tad bit better than that. That meant putting in nicer countertops or stainless steel appliances in neighborhoods that maybe didn't justify that. I would encourage you, as you're out there in the market right now, to continue to have that attitude. I think as investors, we've gotten kind of used to slacking off and providing less value or less, maybe not less isn't the right word here.
Well, we're investors, Travis. We're cheap.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're not going to put a lot of money into these, and before we didn't have to.
Right. So we might be providing less desirable products and finishes than the market is actually wanting right now. And to spend a little bit up front may increase your profits on the back end.
And we believe they will. You either need to be a little bit better or priced a little bit better. So you're either adjusting your price or you're putting in more stuff to sell your properties. Good?
I think that's it.
All right. Pine Financial Group. We're hard money lenders. We'd love to help you finance your fix and flips, your fix and holds. Find us at pinefinancialgroup.com.